I am so sorry. I totally forgot that I scheduled a live stream tonight. Yeah, I totally forgot until I was downstairs starting to watch. Um, oh my gosh, I just drew a blank, and my mind is totally scrambled right now. I want to thank Ben, Send It, Wesley. Who else did I see here? Different. Thank you guys for sticking in there and being the concurrent viewers. I really do apologize. Fish, what's up? Well, I didn't start it yet. I was scrolling through something on HBO to watch. I was gonna start watching Westworld. Um, but yeah, totally forgot. I totally apologize, ladies and gentlemen. My B. We will get right into the market here. I didn't get the chance to get some water here. Let me actually get something from my little mini fridge here. Let's see. Let's go. I don't want to moon you guys, so I didn't bend that way. So got some delicious San Pellegrino in there. So nice comfy here. Hopefully everyone's doing well. I know it's been quite a insane, crazy week. It's been a lot of red. Let's put it that way. It's been difficult as well. I think most people who are more of a bullish term mindset that this week was very rough, extremely choppy here, and we'll see on how the next coming weeks go due to a lot of people focusing on the yield curve. A lot of people are very afraid of jumping into growth, kind of hesitant because having somewhat of a flashback slash trauma from this time last year. We saw that very large market correction due to the virus, and I think some of that is potentially could be cooping up on people's psyche, on really not just being able to focus on that. Exactly, it could be a lot worse. Oh, it's getting unvoted tonight. Okay, good for them. And what amount is that for? Is that the 1,200 one or 1,400? I always forget the amounts. Uh, Whew. I was actually just looking up while I got sidetracked. I was looking for a new streaming camera. I just have a generic webcam here, but I was looking to get like a Canon EOS 50 or something like that. Yeah. That's very good. Send it. Yeah. So definitely when you see this chop in the market, you have to be very mindful in the sense of buying smaller, reducing risk, potentially not overstepping it, because the market is currently somewhat on a tightrope, as you can say, I guess you could say, and really potentially could get another pullback if that rope gets too tight. Let's go ahead and just kind of look at some of the stocks here. So let's go ahead and just jump into the Nasdaq here. Of course, let's just pull up QQQ instead of just doing the Nasdaq itself. You can kind of see here with that beatdown that we saw today. Um, Really, we're just kind of the last 4 days. We just kind of been in that super chop kangaroo mode, um, with that basically just that super chop, just like uh, which you can call maybe the very tight capitulation between the bulls and the bears. Like exactly, it's exactly what's going on in the picture. These two folks, or these two characters or animals, are fighting. The bull's trying to kill the bear, and the bear's trying to kill the bull. Who's gonna win? Blah 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 blah. We don't know. So this is definitely going to be one to totally look out for, I guess, with the yield curve being where it's at. Again, if you haven't seen this already with the thing that I posted on my previous video talking about the yield curve here, oh, thank you. This is the Treasury Yield on this one here. You can see that red line here. I can post that in the live stream comment or the chat box if you want to check that out. That's basically each time we've seen the yield pop up from 0 to 1 point, they said 1.5 to 1.6, the yield, which is of course the 10-year note, the 10-year yield, which is kind of equal to the overall dividend of the S&P 500. Of course, this is, again, you're not just talking about us speculative traders or the YOLO traders. These are more the institutional, like how can they guaranteed returns and performance. If the yield's at 1.4, I'm just going to go back that, because that's going to be much safer than being in risky assets on the market. Again, we're seeing this kind of bouncing around. With that, again, that line here, definitely check that out. It's always a nice little resource to kind of have and kind of keep an eye on. I've kind of learned from it many years ago, basically from the previous crash, but ever recently, just kind of hearing a lot about it. Of course, Dr. Michael Burry has talked about it extensively via his Twitter. Again, his Twitter, always an interesting person to talk. Again, it's hilarious because the dude has, like, how many does he have here? Yeah, let me just pull it up here. The guy has 383,000 followers, but he follows no one. So I absolutely love that. That's just fantastic to see that. Of course, with him kind of being a little bit more of a, wouldn't say like a scare tactic at all. Not saying that at all. But posting these couple interesting, this is the equity put to call ratio. Excuse me. So the put to call ratio is meaning how many puts to calls are being bought. Normally, if that put to call ratio is very low, like below like 0.4 by below 0.5, you normally get some kind of pullback. He's looking at a very extensive line. We can look via at it via Thinkorswim and kind of look at a better parameters. Another one he talked about again was the US weekly equity call volume. You can kind of see here, options have literally taken off due to Robinhood, due to Tastyworks was what I use for trading. So many more folks are learning and getting into options. Is that a recipe for disaster? For some folks, yes. Again, options is a very difficult. It took me years to learn options, and I'm still learning day to day, day in out. Like it's you're very much leveraged up, and I think people kind of sometimes lose the aspect of the leverage that you really get within that. So without further ado, you can kind of come on by and follow me as well. I'm just the dyslexic investor at Twitter. I post a couple things. It's usually just kind of random things, so you can definitely, if you don't mind, come on by and hit me a follow if you don't mind. Let's see here. Let's ask a couple of questions. Stimulus bills getting voted on tonight. 14. PLTR was one of the most. PLT was one I was most about getting ready to scale back on. I'm averaging down in PLTR from 2063. Yeah, for my position in PLTR, I'm a little bit lower than that. It is coming down to some support potentially. It doesn't look pretty, honestly. It's probably going to shake some more people out with PLTR and the direction that's currently heading. You're seeing the aggressive action from the 5 and 8 moving averages cross already through the 21, and we're seeing that break that 89 EMA. We've kind of found some support here previously that we saw at these two levels, basically at $22.69, highlighting here and here on those pullbacks. Of course, this one was not as steep as this one we're seeing here. Of course, this one is, we're already past the 50-day, past the 55, and have broken past the 89 EMA. So that is definitely something to consider. Again, this is a very steep, sharp move down. Potentially, I can see this break that 22.69 to potentially come to 21-ish to even back down to 20. before we get maybe any kind of action going there. I know I see an after hours trading is up to 24.50. I don't really consider after hours trading too much of an accurate, honestly, um, just because it's the Wild West and the amount of volume you see in after hours trading is nothing compared to the overall market. It is on the short term side trying to rebound here. Again, that 2269 has shown support, so it could be potentially air quotes a double bottom, but we could maybe see something pop from PLTR at those levels. But like the Nasdaq and a lot of these tech stocks, and I don't want to call them meme stocks, but they have taken on some damage. They have taken on some water, and really looking for trying to, again, a lot of people got shooken out. People pretty much got very scared. We saw a lot of panic selling, of course, the first day, but then I believe a lot of people just kind of went in full bore and just kind of bought the dip because that's what they were told to do. Very mindful of like if you're looking at the S&P 500, that trend is still working, but with the Nasdaq, it has not. That trend is broken right now. Like it is trying to hold above the 89 EMA, which we've seen that pull back to that level 3 times, or this is the 2 times before. This will be the third attempt at these levels here. So coming into this level, bouncing, coming to this level, bouncing, coming into this level, maybe bouncing. We'll see again talking about the I know I like reference this a lot, but it's a very good tool as my stock trading almanac of 2021. Of course, the month of February is over. Whew, thank God. Usually February, historically speaking, is not the world's greatest month for any kind of equities. Again, highlighting some very key statistics here. Where was it? Most months, even after a new presidential election, the month of February into March is very choppy here. But if the overall economy could spool back up, and of course we're in a very strange time period in history on just having a coming out of trying to come out of a pandemic, trying to get somewhat back to normal life, and then really just trying to prosper and really trying to get back to that key state of just normal sense. Venkat, you're asking for some support coming in. Yeah, for if we're just looking at the QQQ, honestly, Cat, we're looking for potentially that 309. If that 309 does not hold and we close below that, we can see it easily come down to 303 to 300 potentially, if there is no stopping going higher. But like we could just see some chop mode, maybe come up to the 323, and then kind of fully throw down. Again, with a very large market pullback, because again, from the high to the low, I think we're only at, of course, I can't stand when Thinkorswim doesn't auto adjust that because they're not that. So we're about 8% down right now. So from the high to low, that's still somewhat in like it's not a crash mode, it's in like a correction mode. So an 8 to 10% would be somewhat in that correction mode. So normally people say like, oh, this is a normal correction because it just needs to happen in the market. It's just kind of like in nature that it has to flood the flatlands because it has to get out the weak viruses, or it has to get out the virus is probably not the good word to say. It has to get out of all the soak the wetlands for it to prosper, and that's kind of somewhat of the stand that we're taking here currently in the overall market. I got into PLTR $9.60. I wish I had bought much more shares as can. I don't know how many shares. Yeah, I bought. Well, I have to think again. I have to thank Alpaca very much in the sense of helping me. The what's it called? One second, I'm not getting a phone call from Buffett, but mm, the understanding of I have to thank Alpaca for PLTR because again, he's like, you should make a video to check out PLTR. I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of like seems like people don't really like it, but I got to thank him for that. I got an PLTR, um, very nice, and has been a very nice return so far. Um, are we going to be entering a bear market? Um, it's hard to tell when a bear market happens. It's like because a bear market, what is a bear market? Like, in theory, we were in a bear market last year for about 3 months. So if we look here on the weekly chart, again, we had that swing high to swing low. We had a down pull of nearly 30% for up again less than 3 months. That's somewhat considered a bear market. So a bear market is uh, a GDP growth less than a certain number. I believe, and I don't know if it's negative GDP growth, but I think it's like below one or something. And at the same time, the market is down well over 30%. Don't quote me on that, but it's something depending on people look at. If you're looking at it relatively what we've seen in history in the sense of a bear market, the bear market has always been like, hey, it's usually 7 to 8 years of a bull market, and then it's like anywhere from 12 to 18 months of a bear market. A bear market doesn't mean it has to be crashing or coming down. It's just meaning slower growth in the economy. And then usually that's sometimes tied to inflation and all those other kind of key factors on that. With that being said, like I just talked to you about the QQQ, that 89 EMA. If we do continue to sell off, that would be kind of putting some worry signs on there. Exactly, David. We made it for the to the weekend, and you still got all your fingers right. Um, David, I need to ping you. I'm looking at getting the tell me if I'm stupid here or not, but I kind of like the Canon EOS oh shoot, what was it called? Now I just lost it. EOS M50 with, but I don't know what lens to get. I need a nice lens to kind of maybe create that what is that called, the field of depth, and make that blurriness behind and make it super crispy, because I need everything possible to make this look sexy, if you know what I mean. And I would appreciate that. I know you're the expert on that. Ken, thoughts on snow? It's been disappointing. A lot of things been disappointing though. You know that, Wesley. Yeah, let's look at snow again with heavy growth. So I don't know if people use. Let me look at this. Hang on. Let's look at how the heck. Let's see here. And I want to go here and mm-hmm. So I use Investor Business Daily quite a bit for research, just to understand things, what other a lot of people are doing. I think they have a fantastic model using the Can Slim, and it's definitely something. Bokering, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Um, Boo Ken, what do you mean Boo Ken? Is that you mean saying Boo Ken or Boka? What is the so with snow? Like I like to use this to kind of look at what the checklist is. Everything does not really check out here. I always kind of look at what their earnings is and so forth on this on the fundamental side, because I'm mostly technical, but I like to use Investor Business Daily data to kind of give me the quick overview of things here. So with that being said, snow has been kind of beat down here, as you can see here, running into earnings coming out the 3rd of next month, falling into some support here previously around that 263. Again, this thing has been super choppy for quite some time here, and really seeing that kind of come down to this level here before. Again, I'm always like secretly somewhat like not, I won't say cringe, but like in the sense of like why do they put these expectations on these stocks? Again, if you remember when this stock first came public, everyone was like super insane about it. Like you had Warren Buffett in it, you had the guy from Salesforce, what's Benioff in it, and people were just pumping it and just so glad. And how like originally, if you remember, it was priced at 180. Okay, it was at maybe less than that, but that it literally just took off like a rocket ship, hitting a high of basically 320, and just hasn't really seen. Of course, we've seen some of those higher prices, but it wasn't really. It was only up there for like a week, a couple of weeks, but then it came right back down. Um, this is only it's only going to be its second public earnings, as being a newer stock, and seeing this potentially again very much in a downtrend here, very choppy here. Not my favorite kind of chart pattern. Unless you truly believe in the company, then that's what you got to go for. Ba, ba, ba. What up, Vlad? We had a couple. Oh, what's up, Ben? We need a couple of public statements from Kathy Woods and Elon to encourage words to get things rolling again. Exactly, Ben. Like if you just watched my previous video that I just put out, um, discussing the phone call that I had with Warren Buffett, I said like, hey, just go on CNBC, give them your old cheery, maybe drink a Coke and eat a Snickers bar and tell everyone it's going to be okay, and talk about long-term investing and market turmoils potentially, but things do rebound, and markets are made here in the United States that are made to continuously give growth and blah 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 blah, all these bullet points. Um, with that, I just need to be very mindful. So yeah, I do agree. We need more folks that have the trust from the masses to be speaking about this kind of volatility. Chris is saying I have a Canon LS that I like, but is that made for street? I don't know. I don't know jack crap about cameras, Chris. I really don't. The Master Dad One. Thoughts on Apple and Tesla and NIO entry price. NIO has earnings Monday, so be very careful on that one. I don't like to be into that in going to earnings, but looking at Apple first, I love Apple. I own Apple in my long-term account. Was it pretty today to see the pullback today? No, it was not pretty at all. It was painful. We're back down to like the 120 level. Of course, Apple has broken past the 89 EMA, and now looking for some support coming in around that 119 to 120. This is definitely a interesting time frame to be looking at here, because Apple, one of the largest companies in the world, largest market cap in that sense. But with this really aggressively downturn, we haven't really seen it bounce off these levels before. So this is what we have to be super careful about here. I'm not going to be just running out and just throwing cash at this falling knife, as they say, and just kind of be a little bit more strategic on looking at. If we can hold that 120, that would be great. But I need to hold quite a bit here, because again, if you're looking in the short term, that 5 and 8 moving averages are pretty aggressively pointing down, and would like to have these start trading parallel before we start going balls deep, as they say, on buying stuff. Same with Tesla. Tesla, again, very choppy here. Tesla is looking somewhat better because it's holding above the 89 EMA. Even though Tesla's had that crazy run from 400 to 900, it's finding some support around the 89 EMA, just like the NASDAQ we just talked about. But at the same sense, still looking a bit heavy, still looking for a potential some more market turmoil to come in with the old Tesla here, with the 5 and 8 moving averages starting to kind of maybe need to start curling over. And then NIO, completely hard to tell you about an entry point here, because we do have earnings coming out Monday. Again, very aggressive pullback. We are below the 89 EMA. But that being said, that $45 price target has been significant support before. So this is what we're looking for to potentially try to hold here. But if the whole market wants to continue going lower, it's going to take everything else with it. It's like an avalanche. There's not going to be one or two companies that are just going to be able to withstand the overall selling of an avalanche sale. Ken, thanks for your insights on NASDAQ. How's ZM looking for earnings on Monday? Yeah, ZM has earnings on Monday, so let's zoom with that as well. Again, I can't predict earnings, and I can't predict on how the market will predict or how they will react to the earnings. Because again, I really look at earnings as a coin flip. So this is really what I have to kind of look at it. So with that expected move for next week is about $50. So we're trading around 375. So $50 would be 415. So yeah, 425 to well below 315, which again, we do have some support coming in around that 345 range, so we could maybe get a somewhat of a bounce off of that level. But with again, I just really need to sit on my hands and kind of see where it could happen. Really just going to be looking at what the market makers are predicting, and they're looking for a move for the week's range of about $50. Daniel is saying, "Hey, good sir, thanks for the videos. What do you think about Rocket earnings?" I'm into Rocket, just a very small amount. I wish I had a little bit more due to the fact that it did have earnings, so I did add a little bit coming into the earnings, just a tiny, tiny bit. It did shoot up quite a bit. It was only up 10% today compared to things are being down. I know if Daniel, I don't know if you're in the Discord, you should definitely join the Discord, completely free, no obligations. But Ryan, who else was in it? Was GT? Were you in Rocket? I think you're not Rocket too. It's something. It just we kind of got into it. Just kind of it's just been beaten down. It's just like something that no one's really looking at, even though our mortgages rates and interest rates are going higher. So does that mean more people are going to be less opportunistic to buy a house and whatever? So a little bit of a like a very speculative play on my sense. But the overall trend looks like it's trying to get out of this like choppiness, but we're still in the chop. We're still in this wave cycle here, not really seeing that price target break above 24. So it can come back down to 2150, and that would be some level of support. But we start breaking below that, that's going to be going right into that negative chop mode. Jared, what's up, my friend? Thank you for the $5. Yeah, it's what a week. What a week without a doubt. What a week. Oh, it's a DSLR. So a DSLR, is that different than a mirrorless camera? I'm just trying to learn all this stuff. I've been reading about it. I don't know anything. Um, I just know Sony cameras cost a lot. I was looking at it, I was like, oh, that's a nice camera, nice specs. $7,000. Like, God. Let's Pen. Yeah. I like Pen. Don't have a current position or holding in it there, Ben. But I think I highlighted this just the video I just put out, I believe. And seeing it very aggressive, kind of putting it in the category, Ben, of post-pandemic reopening play. That yes, they do have the exposure to online gambling and what's it called, sports betting. But one second, I need to write a quick note. NIO and ZM earnings. There we go. I always write down notes. With that, I like this pattern here, but I'm keeping it on a short leash and being very mindful of what I'm looking at here. That is something to hold this level here around 116. That's a Fibonacci number. Looking here on a little bit longer time frame, Pen has come quite a ways here, so it could pull back again. It's much stronger look at stock than like a Win a Caesars and MGM kind of play, because again, it's a little bit different exposure. Um, with that, again, it has been holding the 21 to 34 EMA very well. So it has earnings already behind it, so that's fantastic in my book. But looking for that 34 EMA to hold, which is around that 107 to 109 range. If that can kind of hold there, I would like to buy maybe a smaller position once it kind of gets in that range. If we can see that continuous consolidation up here, and maybe kind of sit tight here for maybe like a week or two. And then if we get any kind of economic data, stimulus stuff, that I think that could create that spark that we need to see to potentially to go have this go higher. Tommy, what's up, my friend? MP, yeah, MP. I have a position in that, have been in that for a little bit, I believe around below 30. A little chop coming in today with this one, really seeing this continuing higher. The only thing is I'm a little fearful about is that this has come up quite a bit here. We do have earnings coming out on the 18th. So keep that in mind, write that on your calendar, put that on your phone to set that reminder to be ready for that. The IV and ATR are very red. You can see here on the chart here. What that means is the average true range. So it has moved quite a bit here, up or down the roller coaster, the chop, with a heavy volume coming in as well. But looking at the RSI and volumes on oscillator, it's just kind of somewhat just chilling here. It can easily come back down to 38, 38.50 for some levels of support. Mhm. OZ Bear says CCIV. I thought I was gonna wait for someone to talk about CCIV. So CCIV, yeah. Of course, not gonna be diving into the full like the management stuff of the spec. Excuse me. This is definitely something to, again, a lot of people still love this stock. People are investing in this because of being a Tesla competitor, being the CEO or CTO was the lead engineer for the Model S, I believe, or one of the projects, or one of the lead engineers for something. Um, but with CCIV, it's just like the deal has been announced. People are saying that they're holding the stock for long term. I'm a little hesitant on that. I don't know many people who have the cojones to hold stocks for 3 or 5 years. I think, especially in this market, in the SPAC market, EV market, I think that we could see some extreme chop here because, again, what you're looking for, again, yes, they have a factory, it's up and operational, but the logistical stuff, we even had really haven't had an earnings yet. We don't know how people look at this quite yet, so I'm a little hesitant on it. Looking strictly at the chart here, it has taken on a lot of damage from that leap from basically that $60 range all the way down to 30 here. Is very much damaging people, creating that little bit of that little that bug in their ear of like, oh, this thing can drop at any second. The FOMO behind it, just being very mindful here. Looking for, again, it's still above the 50-day, but we don't have that much data on this stock because, again, it's only really been trading for a very short period of time with the action that we're currently looking at here. So basically, it's only really been trading since the beginning of the year, because, again, it was holding that 5 and 8 moving averages, but once that huge gap down, it didn't even get the close on the slow term of the 8 EMA. It just gapped down and just slap people's in the face. So yeah, be very careful with this one, my friend Bear. If you're a bear, you might. Are you short this? Favorite long-term stock? Tesla. um, a rising tide lifts all boats. Exactly, a rising tide lifts all boats. But then a hurricane can sink a lot of boats. Snack's been interesting spy on red day since mid snap. Yeah, Snap had a crazy move the other day. What day was that? Yeah, it was like a couple days ago. Was that Tuesday? It had a huge run higher, but then came right back down to 21 EMA. Since that, not the previous quarter, but that other quarter around that range, it has had that huge gap up, and it's been holding the 34 and hitting the 50 days a couple time here. But it's still very aggressive upward trend. I like the trend. The trend of the path of least resistance is still trying to go higher here. I would like to potentially, if you don't have a position in it, to add around the 59 or potentially the $57 range if we do get that pullback. What's up, MB63? Tesla by far is my biggest holding. That being said, looking forward to 2022. Exactly, Jared. Um, Twitter shop, please, Ken. Yeah, Twitter, TWTR. Of course, Twitter had that, was it Thursday? They had their analyst day, show off demo day at earnings of last week, talking about doubling their monetized users, doubling revenue over the next 2.5 years, 2 years, and trying to reach a broader audience. Basically, I think they're around like 190 million active users a month. They're trying to jump that up to well over 300. So that's going to be a very tough task. But the stock price, and like, just take all the news out of it, that stock price, like, wow, you could even tell there's a market correction in tech looking at this chart. So it's finally long term. So I'm going to have to do some story here. Going out to the max chart here, basically it's breaking out from its previous high that happened in like December of 2014 or 2013, that is finally breaking out here. If this trend wants to continue, we're going to be looking for the next target around 91 to $112. So yeah, we're talking about Twitter at $112. I know that seems insane. And then you asked about Shop. Yeah, Shop, a little bit of a different parameters here, but not as bad as some other their heavier tech names. Because the thing is like the ones that got hit the most, even though Apple, I don't know why it got hit because it's so much levered to so many other ETFs. But Shop didn't get hit because it has earnings. Like again, a lot of the stocks that got hit very hard were the stocks that did not have any earnings or any kind of, they have revenue, but it's not proper earnings. They're running at a loss, which is fine to some extent, but once that yield curve turns, you just saw the damage that was done. So with Shop here, it's bouncing pretty good here off the 50-day here, different. So we've seen this kind of pull back to that 50-day quite a few times here. Not looking too unhealthy, much better trend than the overall market. Because again, it just had earnings. Really didn't, I don't know what happened there, why did it take it very well. I'm not too familiar with their earnings, but with that 50-day, looking for that support here, everyone follows. Most people follow the 50 days. That definitely looks for some levels of support there. Because again, the 5 and 8 are starting to cross over the 21 EMA, but it hasn't really officially crossed it. What is the best stocks to discount by these bigger dips? Um, Really, just in your core positions, if you feel comfortable doing that. You have to be very mindful in the sense of stocks do come down; they don't always go up. So, if you're a long-term Apple holder, Tesla, PLTR, Costco, you just kind of have to slowly add to it. You don't I don't think there's ever a day where I'm just like, oh, I got 20K in cash. Let me just throw it into this one stock in one day. My brain doesn't work like that. I'm a very slow, steady Eddie kind of guy and just kind of slowly just pushing my chips. I'm never going to be at the poker table, which I've never played poker on a poker table, of just throwing in all my chips. I just can't do that. My brain doesn't function like that. Did I miss something? EH, those two I'm bullish on. What's EH? I've never heard of that. Is that E? Yeah. I know this one. I know David. Didn't you play this one? Really, this is insane. I don't like to see red candles from 120 down to 47. That is not fun. Um, what happened to this one again? I remember there's something that came out about this one. This is the one that was going to be taken off from trading or something, if I'm remember right. That is pretty insane move down. Very choppy. It is at the 89 EMA around $44. If we can kind of create a base here around $43 to $48 and see that chop and maybe build a level level of base here and some support here, we maybe can get a rebound. But that's a lot of damage that was taken there. So I'm gonna be very careful. DSLR is just a digital cameras. I got mine for about 700. I've had 4 lenses I use for skateboarding and mature photos. Oh, nature photos. I was thinking of boobs. Sorry. Uh, yeah, let's talk. The Canon M5 is a nice vlogging camera. It has an APC sensor. Crap, not full frame. For lens, you can do a don't buy full frame lenses as the microphone has a crap. Oh, okay. Again, I know nothing about lenses. Thank you, David and Chris, on that. Tram's asking for Amazon. Amazon's in a weird camp. Like, is Amazon a stay-at-home play? Is it a tech play? Is it a reopening play? I think it's everything play, honestly, because Amazon, remember, they own Whole Foods. People love their Whole Foods. I love Whole Foods. Really good pizza actually over there. Then AWS, like, more people have switched to the cloud probably this year than ever. So at the same time, it's just been like super choppy here. We're coming in down to that $3,000 level again. We've seen that $3,000 level multiple times. I think that I like Amazon here. I do own just a couple shares. Again, this is a very expensive stock. I don't own options on this outright, but it looks like my target must have been hit. But it is kind of falling down here in the short term. With this very aggressive candle here, that $3,000 range, plus or minus a little bit, that is the level that we're going to be looking at for some level of support. Because again, we're seeing this. If we go to a weekly side, we're seeing that break the 21 EMA, which I did not like, to be quite honest here. We could see some chop here. Long as we stay above that $3,000 range, I believe Amazon does have the strength to kind of continue going from there. But if that does not hold above 3,000, we can easily see that break that $3,000 range. Even with the change in trend here on those parabolic SAR dots here, again, looking on a weekly side of this, we see the purple dots go from the bottom to the top, meaning a trend change. That doesn't mean it's going to come crashing down, because we've seen that happen here before. The trend from lower to higher. That just means choppy potentially. But again, if the whole market wants to go lower, it's going to grab Amazon by the legs and take them under the water with them. So that $3,000 range is something to be very mindful about. If it does pull back, we're going to be looking for some lower levels. I'm going to have to pinpoint around the 2850-ish range. I just got my Pixel, LOL. It has great aerostop photograph. I don't know what that means. I can't read that. Great info on pen, keeps me up to date as I follow this, please, and thank you. Yeah, just ask Ben. Ben? Are you in the Discord? ACP is a cheaper lens for vlogging, so don't need glass unless you're recording 4K uncompressed. But for YouTube, you can be a good quality third-party glass and save money. Thank you. Okay, let's talk Discord. Yeah. Thank you as always, David. Plug. Yeah, Plug. I think I actually own some shares of this still. I thought it got executed, but it did not. Um, Very aggressive downward move. Again, look at the line. It's at the 89 EMA. Like I can't these numbers again, the 89 is a Fibonacci number. So that's what where I'm pulling from. I didn't put a couple numbers in a hat and just pull them out. The 89 is a Fibonacci number, so that's why the 21 is a Fibonacci number, the 34 is a Fibonacci number, 55 is a Fibonacci number. So, looking for this potentially to hold, there's a thing, Chris, that technical announcers always look at, meaning if there's always a very large gap up like this, there's meaning that there has to be potentially a pullback to those levels. That doesn't always happen, but clearly happened here. Really kind of giving back this whole gap up because again, that lot heavy volume here. Weak hands again. When you do have these gap ups, you have a lot of people that FOMO, that froth, creating this market to continue going higher here. You can see here after those two gaps up, we really didn't do much of anything and really just kind of went through here, crossing through a lot of the moving averages all the way down. Looking for potentially a bounce here around 42. That doesn't mean it has to hold with, it can do whatever it wants. But if we do see that, again, the 5 and 8s are starting to curl here. So that's a good sign here. With earnings behind us, that's also good as well. But if that 89 does break, we're going to be potentially coming down to the $35 to $34 range. Really wanted to see this trade sideways and kind of build a very strong base here to see it maybe break above these falling parabolic SR dots. Ben, yeah, CCI screwed the little guys. Yeah, it's a very sad thing. CIIC says MB. I never. What's that one? CIIC. Wow. Okay, another SPAC. So I actually added a rule to my trading list is SPACs. Really got to do your due diligence. I'm not just going to be hoping and praying on these blank check companies to give me a return because CCIV for me was a wake up call, and I don't want to be caught in that tornado or hurricane of froth that we saw in that SPAC and just really get sideswiped like that. I don't like surprises like that. So with CIIC, I don't know too much about this one. MB, I don't know what's going on here. Technically speaking, it has aggressively pulled back, but it has pulled back to the 89 EMA and has closed below it. So that 2350-ish range could be a level of support if we build a base here. But if those moving averages and price wants to dictate us lower, we could potentially looking at some support around $20. Okay. Sorry. Oh shoot, my chat just updated here. 1 second. But okay, it looks like what's going on here. Blah, 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 blah. Wesley saying CCIV, LI, NIO all equal to generic versions of Tesla. Yeah, I guess you can call it. It's almost like a generic drug. It's just kind of a copy of it. When Tesla hits 650 mark, it's so hard not to buy more. I just had to screw my cost per share. I know, Jared, that it's very difficult. I had to be a 6-year-old boy and be immature and had to buy a couple shares at 666 because again, I'm immature and I'm stupid. But it is again at the 89 EMA. So if we can hold some support here, that'll be fantastic. A little bit, the damage has been done. The 5 and 8 are potentially could be pulling back us even lower here. So if we do break that 675, 670 range, we can easily come back down to 600 to 583. Um, CDNS. I like this little chart. What is this? Canvas Design Systems. Interesting. This had earnings. Looks like it kind of bounced off here. Um, yeah, looks like the overall trend is better. Again, you can't really tell that there was a market sell-off here, so I don't know what industry this company is in, but this is looking fairly strong here. Again, it is above the 34 and 50 SMA here, the 21 EMA and the 50 SMA, but with the very choppy here, looking at potentially trying to print higher. If it breaks above 145 to 150, the next target would be around that 153 there. CRSM. Yeah, sorry, can't trade that one. Send it. That's I think you are the specialty of these very penny stocks I can't touch. Sorry. David says I bought a lot of Tesla PLNR NAO at crazy lows. I hope they were lows. Way big in MLS. Fingers crossed. What is the M? That is a lot of people have been talking about the MLS stuff. No, sorry. What was the thing I was talking? Peloton. So MLS is the one that's kind of the competitor to Peloton here. What you're seeing here from previous Fibonacci numbers here, David. We can kind of update this actually since this has been moved here. Hold on one second. Give me a second here. Yeah, potentially looking for 1722, which is also the 200 EMA, that's 1735 to 1675 to potentially hold. Even with earnings, it gapped down pretty bad. Like, why? That's a lot of gap down. The fitness market, right? This is the fitness stock. Yeah, that's pretty aggressive downward move. Yeah, we're looking for this to really stop bleeding here, more or less. Then we can maybe talk about trying to go higher there. With tech and EV stocks are getting crushed already this year, what markets do you think will flourish this year? Like building stocks, like Lennar, Toll Bros, KBH Homes, um, even like John Deere, like Deere is like crazy insane. And then of course some of the reopening stocks, like anything from travel, leisure, airlines. But that's going to be a little bit more of a trickier timing of it, unless you want to be buying longer dated leaps or just kind of holding and just holding on your position for a little bit. Yeah, I think 100% agree, Jared. Like, I think with the sector rotation from growth into boring companies, EV is definitely the new trend without a doubt. Thoughts on IDEX? Yeah, IDEX. Very aggressive pullback here, but we did see with this very aggressive action again with the 5 and 8 very aggressively pointing to the ground here. We are potentially looking for again the 89 EMA to potentially hold around that $3 to around 277 to hold. Um, with that again, we've seen very aggressive movements with the stock with swing highs and swing lows ever since we've really reached that first like $5 range, and now really coming back pretty aggressively here. So if we do find some kind of a support here around that 275 to $3 range, that we could maybe see some consolidation happen there. What do you think about XPEV chart, Joe? XPEV, this is the Chinese Tesla, right? Eh, not honestly a fan. Let me do this here real fast. So yeah, with these aggressive moving averages going down, and we just did the Fibonacci oh shit, the Fibonacci extensions here. We're seeing this again. The moving averages are telling a story. The moving averages on the longer dated sides are telling us a story too. Between that 144 and 200 EMA has always been some level of support. I'm doing air quotes there, Joe. But if it wants to aggressively sell off even more, if it does not hold above that 35-ish dollar range, we could see this one trickle down to $30. With again, I think NIO has earnings Monday after the close, and of course they have other. Looks like XPEV has earnings coming out the 8th of March. Thoughts on the workhorse shenanigans? So, I was reading some interesting stuff. So workhorse, they do the drones, they do the delivery trucks, and the EV kind of section. With that, from what I read, that they're trying to fight it. Um, that they're saying that they're the only pure EV play, to really replace and not the Oshkosh Defense Company, because the Oshkosh Defense Company is actually doing some of the vehicles not in batteries. They're actually doing it with a traditional combustion engine. Um, Again, this is like it's a very large contract. Again, we're talking about like I think it was like 85 to like 155 million vehicles over 10 years. So that's a very large contract for anyone to handle. And I thought the rumor always was, again, with Workhorse, they were the company to get the contract. That's why this company really ramped up. Again, this time last year was trading for like $4, okay, like less than a dollar after that. Um, but once the rumor mill, the pumpers, and whatever you want to call them, were like playing the speculative play of like, hey, if they get that contract, this one's going to the moon, boys and girls. Which again, I played the chart as well. Again, buying into it just a little bit here, and getting out of it basically around 25. Again, this aggressively chop here was basically um, buy the rumor, sell the news, where the rumor was like, hey, they're going to get the contract. Let's go to the moon, boys and girls. But then once the news came out, it was a not a very pretty play. We'll see on how things turn out here. I am actually I want to look into this one a little bit more as well, but I don't want to touch it. Nestor says, "What up, bro? Nice to see you. The market is just wow. What do you think of AMD? Thanks for what all you do for us. You're welcome, my friend. AMD, of course, I still own the stock like a schmuck, which is it's still fine. It's a long term hold. It's just seeing some chop here. Between them and TSM, it's been a little bit of choppiness and rough, but we're coming down to the 144 EMA here. So looking for that 82 to $84 to hold. If that really does not hold, we're going to be potentially breaking below 80. We will see the 80 to $78 range, which we have seen before, because AMD, very strange stock, even though they're a market leader in a lot of components, with NVIDIA ARM deal potentially going through. We'll see on how this one plays out. I'm not completely. I love to make money, but I'm not gonna. I love AMD so much where I have to hold it because I love AMD. If that makes sense. Um, Send it says CRSM. No, oh sorry, CR. Oh, CRSR. Yeah, Corsair Gaming, of course. This one didn't sell off as much again as well, but it did have that earnings, and it was kind of going in a downward trend and projection move already here. Kind of again hitting into that 89 EMA here, so potentially looking for this to kind of hold here. If it does not, we can easily see this well below to around $30. Again, with those moving averages, is kind of pushing it down. Yeah, Amazon needs a split. It needs to split. We just did, and I know Jeff Blue Origin versus the Elon SpaceX. No, SpaceX. Who has the contract with NASA? End of story. Ben, I can't figure out Discord. Ken, can you check out MAXR? One of the space plays did for the last week. Consider everything selling off. Um, yeah, very choppy. The overall trend, even with earnings, it looks like it didn't sell off or anything. It is still holding above the 50 SMA here, which is that red line. So that's a good. It is between the 21 and 34, so that could be potentially a nice buy zone. The only thing to be a little bit considering here is that $50, $51 range. It has not been able to get above it. Really seeing that potentially being somewhat of an obstacle to try to get above. But the overall trend is still trying to go higher here. It's not the most beautiful uptrend, but it is a little choppy here to potentially see on how this one plays out, especially trying to break above that $50 range in the near term. Mm-mm. Let's see here. Okay, hold on. SPAC EV merger. I heard that rumor as well, Nathan. Really plugs an anal on top of earnings? Okay, good for them. Reading that Best Buy is laying off 5,000 employees and shutting down some stores to focus on online sales. Also, many Apple stores testing out and going into select Targets. Huh. That's interesting because Target always has that weird. Um, what is it? They have who runs their pharmacies? It's CVS. It's kind of like what J.C. Penney tried to do many years ago when retail was dying and online shopping was taking off. They would have like these whatever makeup company come in and they have their own little space. They would create a J.C. Penney like market, basically just like a place where multiple other retailers would rent out space within the space of J.C. Penney and share their goods. PSH to the moon, considering William. Yeah, like so. The thing is with PSH or Pershing Square SPAC, it's a little bit differently marketed and structured in their SPAC deal. Because it's not a traditional SPAC where it's just like a blank check and starts at $10. They're really incentivizing people to hold through once they announce that merger kind of stuff. Technically speaking, the chart is just looking fine. It's just trading at a pretty high premium, being a blank chip company. I own 69 shares of I'm just childless. I appreciate that. How is cake? Who? How is cake? Is that talking about Cheesecake Factory? Yeah, that cake. That is a beautiful coming through here. We're breaking into all time. Again, we'll go to the weekly side. This the stock's higher than it was before the pandemic. So kudos to Cake over there. So they're doing something right. Jared's asking for MVIS. Wow, that's a crazy move there. This was a 15 cents and now it's 25. Holy moly. Wow. But like, look at that chart though. That 21 EMA is coming in pretty clutch there, Jared. If that does not hold around that $15 range, again, the 21 EMA where it's currently looking at on the daily side, we can easily see this potentially push back to around 12.92 to $13, which is kind of that 21 EMA. Looks like they have a question marks earning coming out the 10th of March, so be keeping heads up for that again. With this one again, I have no idea what this company does, but that is a beautiful looking chart there. What is the application that I use, Ken, for using analysis? That's Thinkorswim. Oh, Jared, gotcha. Thank you, Jared. Zoom analysis. Yeah, Zoom. Nothing to really. We got earnings coming out next week on Monday. The expected move is $50. So, how do I know that? The market makers for the options for March 5th, which is next Friday, they're saying in high IV or applied volatility at nearly 118%. And they're saying a market move of plus or minus $50. So that's kind of gonna get my parameters on Zoom. I don't know how they're doing with like company wide. We'll see on what their earnings say. As you know, if you watch the channel for more than 5 minutes, I think earnings is a coin flip. I don't want to hold options into earnings, near-term options into earnings. I just can't do it. CAT and DE have been so steady. Yes, 100%. Both of them have been just, DE has been just a nice, huge movement here. Even like it just kind of just been slowly just grinding up here. Not really anyone caring about it. Just like yeah, it's an insane move. Same with Cat's been a little bit more choppier. You can kind of see that the movements that we're seeing here coming to the 50-day a little bit now, kind of like slightly rolling over here. Potentially looking for some short-term support around 212. If that doesn't hold, we're going to be saying hello to 204 to $200 down below there. Chris, my dad worked his whole career at Cat. Nice. Truck stop to huge office. Nice. Favorite indicator. The 21 EMA, the 34 EMA. I bet he's got lots of yellow cat swag. Yeah. Um, SEM. What's SEM? Select Medical Holdings. Yeah, that's I see a lot of reports coming out on folks talking a lot about medical devices uh, that are like everything from the butterfly thing that the Bill Gates, the ultrasound kind of scanning handheld device that you can plug into your mobile phone or your cell phone. I don't know what we call it, a mobile phone. Um, I don't know what this company does, but the chart looks pretty good. It looks like it broke out on earnings here. So yeah, it's breaking out to an all-time high on the weekly side. Let's do a quick fib for you here. Again, of course, with that sell-off that we saw last year, we're looking for some targets. So initially, I don't like to buy at these very high extensions here. Potentially like to see this come back down to $30, even 28 to maybe starting a position. But the next level, if it does continue wanting to go higher, is around $33.63. Uh, bu- 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 um, CRSP. That's from Jason. Yeah, this is like a Kathy Woodstock, if I remember right. Very continuously downward movement here. Again, we're below a lot of key moving averages. We're trying to just kind of stop the bleeding here and this really aggressive downward trend. Potentially trying to hold here around 130 to 126. That would be kind of be looking for some level of support here. If that does not hold and the avalanche and this of selling continues, we can be looking for around 120 to 118 for some support. Drew is asking for solo. Yeah, that is that can is that the Canadian EV company? Yeah, pretty intense moves that we're seeing here as well. Very choppy here. This has kind of been in that range here around that 820 to $7, kind of bouncing around in those levels. Now we're seeing it kind of come off here. Looking for some support around 6 to around 550 to kind of hold. If that does not hold, we can see it well below the $5 range to around that 200 EMA level. Google PLD, does that mean please? Um, Google, I like Google here. It's performing a lot better, and a lot better than your Apples and Amazons and things like that. I believe that $2,000 range, I'm looking for some support here. It's kind of in between the 21 to 34 EMA. If we continue to see some selling coming through, we can break that 2000 to around 1975 to potentially 1950 would be the next level of support there, with that large gap up again we talked about on plug. Normally this gap has to be somewhat filled here, so we're looking for that potentially to kind of steady eddy here. Again, really just tied to the overall market. If the overall market wants to tear us down, it's going to tear us down. I want a new technology that discontinues. The stuff is too dangerous. Tesla could do it. MAXR. Didn't we just? Yeah. This is the one. Yeah, you and Chris must be on the same page. Yeah, this is the one where we just talked about. It had a little bit of trouble trying to break above $51. Um, so that $51 range, or basically $50.82, that is basically the overall line in the sand of resistance, the wall, whatever you want to call it. Has a little bit of issues kind of coming through that, but it's not like crazy oversold or anything like that. That could be a nice little area to potentially start adding into. But if it does break lower, we're going to be looking for some short-term support around 43 to 42.50. If that does not hold, we can come back down to 40, basically filling this gap up at the beginning of the year here. What's up, Earl G? Thoughts on SFM and plug? Yeah, plug we talked about a little bit, so we can do that one real fast. So plug is kind of pulling back to the 89 EMA. We're looking for some support around 42.40 to kind of maybe create that base here. We really want to see the 5 and 8 moving averages to kind of level off. We are seeing that somewhat already, so that's where we're kind of just to kind of looking for that to kind of level off there. And then SFM, Sprouts Farm Markets. Sprouts Farmers Market. I didn't know Sprouts was publicly traded. Wow. Interesting. Let me do fib here. Yeah. There was a competitor. I can't think of it right now. It's bugging me. That was a competitor in Whole Foods. They had one in Annapolis where I used to be. Oh, what was it called? I can't think of it. I don't know if it was Sprouts though. It's like it was like a Whole Foods, but it was a little light. It was cheaper though. Very kind of same vibe and everything. Looking at the Fibonacci stuff here, initially having issues of breaking above $24.79. Been very choppy here. Looks like it just had earnings here. With again, the moving averages are very much spaghetti together here. And you're seeing that kind of play out here in the chart here, just really just not giving any sense of directions or some kind of giving us probabilities of where it could go. Again, the 22.27 is the short term trying to break out above that. So basically, the 22.27 to $20.50 is going to be that range to potentially go higher or lower there. Yeah, cake is ripping. Ben, yeah, I can share. I can't share everything, Ben. I think I have a video where I shared like um a generic one. Let me maybe I have that somewhere. Hold on. I know I have that somewhere. Let's see here. Let me grab that. I think I know where it is real fast. Bum, 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 bum. Maybe I don't. I do. Here it is. Let me copy that. I should probably pin that in the chat here. Ben, there you go, Ben. That's the generic chart there. Paul, hey Ken, thoughts on the good old, yeah, we just did CRSP. That's kind of been selling off. We're looking for the 144 or 200 EMA to hold. Best growth stocks, depending on what you mean by growth, I own a little bit of A or apps, which is APPS. I kind of like that. Ken, what's your favorite stock besides Tesla? It's gonna sound boring, but I love Costco. That's been really been beaten down. Another favorite stock that I like is basically I'm really trying to think. Holy moly. I like PLTR, but it's a long-term trade. I don't know if you're looking for longer term or short term. Most of my trades are fairly long term, so I apologize for that if you're looking for something short term. Um, oh, Schmidtland is a ABBV. Yeah, I used to own that too. Oh, come on. Kind of, yeah, shoot. Very choppy here. I got into this on the dip here. I remember buying it here around that 87-ish dollar range after earnings here, and then riding it up to 100 and getting out of it near this level here around 107 here. We just been in super chop mode here around that 107 to 110 range. Kind of just waiting and waiting for that next move to go higher. It's looking fairly strong here. So we get any kind of catalyst, any kind of positive movement, or any kind of news, we can easily potentially that next target would be trying to run up to that 120 range. There are so many lines on your charts. What are those? Those lines on the charts are the Fibonacci sequences, and then the other lines are just like different moving averages. I know I get a lot of people saying that it's too much for them to kind of look at. I need to kind of dull it down a little bit. David GG is asking for AMC. I don't know if Alan's here tonight, but yeah, that's the next move in the the Wall Street bets squeeze mode here. With that, we're seeing that really kind of that huge rip higher that we saw in the squeeze initially to around that 20-ish dollar range, coming back down, holding that 21 to $34. Again, not been able to really break past that $20 range or even the previous 50% retracement here. So we're really looking for again, that falling parabolic SAR dots is going to be creating that wall and the wall of resistance here. So basically kind of falling in around 1130. It's going to be, if it can't break above that, it has, again, the momentum is kind of pushing it back down. It does have potential earnings coming out in the second here. It's not confirmed yet. So if it does come confirmed here, that could be a pretty crazy ride for AMC, and depending if they can figure out a way to pay off their debt. Again, I can't I always forget if they did or did not. But if we do pull back, we have seen some support around 575 to around that $634 dollar range. My favorite stocks besides Tesla is Planet Fitness. Wow, really? How are they doing? PL PL NTF. Wait, is it PN? PLNTF. I don't know if that's pulling that one for me. POTR me up on options this week. Yeah, POTR was a rough one. Again, growth really got thrown out, even with their earnings coming out. The CEO is just taking his little peruse and walking in the snow, just saying like, "Hey, we're a long-term company. We're going to take all the capital we have and just kind of added that into the research and development, basically." Yeah, MJ, that's definitely what I hear too about that potentially added to Kathy Wood's list. On DBX, what's the short float on Dropbox? Let me look it up. It's not the most accurate data, especially again. I don't think many people know exactly the institute, like the short float at a given state. Oh, short float's only 5 or almost 6%. That's nothing. Okay, thought it was higher for Dropbox. Um, very choppy though. I was an investor in this one as well, way back in the day when it first came out, and I got beaten up on this one too. So I bet my history for that years of what year was that a little bit further out, but not very good call for me. With that being said, very choppy here, very choppy here. It did have that potential catalyst of being short squeezed and really running higher here, but it's just super choppy here. It has pretty strong support around 2168. We see that and here multiple times. That's also falling in line with the 61.8 Fibonacci sequence number from the swing high to swing low. But it has had issues trying to break above 2416, which again is the previous level that we are pulling from the Fibonacci sequence, and seeing a couple days above that, but not really seeing any kind of significant staying power. How about Unity? Yeah, so that is Kathy Woodstock as well. Very aggressive downward move from earnings. Um, but it's still very aggressive downward move because again, look at the 5 and 8 moving averages. They're coming into around that 200 EMA level, and we're closing below the 200 EMA. This is only the second quarter for this company as a publicly traded company, so this is not a pretty one to buy right now. It's still somewhat aggressively pulling back here. If we can get some kind of support around 110 to 108, that can maybe show some kind of levels of stopping to sell off here, but the 5 and 8 moving averages are not showing any signs of kind of curling and kind of leveling off here. Yeah, MNEDF, that's a good one too. Again, I have to thank Alpaca for that one. Um, any advice on PayPal? Thank you. Yeah, PayPal, like Square, they had those fantastic earnings here and rocketed higher. Hit that level around 300 and then came right back down. A little in chop mode, it's doing better than the overall market, especially being a tech heavy company. It has come back down to the 250 range, which is exactly around the 50 SMA as well. So showing some kind of levels of support there. If we can kind of stay above 250, I think it'd be doing fairly well. So on the flip side, or on the contrary, Square, it got hit substantially harder because again, maybe to their Bitcoin exposure. I don't know why they're giving such a different premium to each company. In that sense, on the fundamentals, but the 89 EMA has been a levels of support after earnings for Square before. So even with the sell-off going on, that 89 EMA around 220 to 217 has been fairly strong support there. TGH, a shipping container company. I thought you were going to talk about NAT. I was going to do a video on NAT and kind of just rubbing people's faces that I should have been going short that. Let's see. Wow. That is a beautiful looking chart. Woo. Seeing that really kind of rip higher here. Even after earnings, holding that 5 and 8 moving averages, coming down just a little bit to those parabolic SAR dots. So initially looking for some support around that $24.25, even back down to $23.26, being in those levels of support there. But yeah, that's a pretty nice looking chart there, though. Your biggest holding is Tesla and Amazon. Nice. You're very welcome, Ben. GG is you feeling the I have a heavy position in AMC. I'm still honestly not a fan of Wall Street, but I figure AMC can be a solid stock regardless. Yeah, that's what happens. Like Nokia had some things going for themselves. BlackBerry had some stuff going as well, but once Wall Street bets folks came in and started moving those prices up and down and going crazy with it, I think that really kind of hindered the really true investors as well. DBX still holding off for earnings rise and repeat is my personal opinion. Yeah, I don't want to touch Dropbox. MF is asking for PLTR. Yeah, PLTR. Again, pulling back this whole week again with earnings we just talked about. Looking for initially some support around that $22.69. If that does not hold, we're really looking for some support around $21, which is the 144 EMA. Oh, Planet, is that Planet 13, that marijuana stuff? Very interesting though. A couple plays. So I'm going to be posting a video tomorrow. Really just kind of doing a little bit of a deeper dive on some of the Cathie Wood stocks and what's going on over there. The workhorse capitulation of trying to fight the contract with Oshkosh. And then I wanted to share 3 stocks that well, 2 of them that I'm currently in, and one that I would like to be in, being somewhat of a different play here. And if you want me to share those, I can share with those with you guys now, or I can wait. You guys can wait for the video tomorrow. That's going to be dropping around 5 p.m. I just want to thank everyone for coming out. So we can just kind of do those the 2 stocks. So we actually talked about. We just talked about one of them. So the first stock is actually DE/CAT, and this I kind of put them in the same category here. I would like to pick up some of these shares, or maybe sell some puts or some premium in these once it kind of pulls back to this 21 to 34 EMA here for DE, and then of course CAT as well, and really seeing these being really true market leaders. And if we do ever get the not stimulus, but the large bill to basically an infrastructure bill, cat and deer is going to be really exploding higher here. And then the other two, which is going to be pretty much not many surprises, going to be Logitech. I like Logitech here, even though I don't know if people are considering this as a stay-at-home play, but Logitech, again, making. I have one of their cameras. I have their microphone here. I have their mouse and keyboard. Like they are still really aggressively in the market here, and just really just doing really fantastic things here, and just making these different various devices here. And the chart looks absolutely fabulous. It has been holding the 5 and 8 or the 34 to 50 SMA very well here. We've seen some pullbacks here on just the scariness of reopening. I don't really consider like a reopening play completely. Um, but again, I do have a position in this. It did kind of take a hit today, looking for the 104 to 105 to hold. If we don't hold this, we could easily see this come back down to well below 100. So I kind of have, actually, this should have moved this up here already. If this breaks below that 50-day, I have to cut it. But I've been in this stock for a little bit ever since this sequence up here around, I want to say some September. Yeah, this dip here on the squeeze here that we saw, and we kind of bought in there. That being said, we are seeing that really just continuous uptrend. Seeing these short-term pullbacks, it's not as substantially and how severe as other pullbacks in the same kind of section. So yeah, that's what I'm looking in that sense. And the last one, which is kind of like a sleeper, I believe, is InMode. So if you're familiar with plastic surgery, which I'm not, clearly, just joking. I don't think I'll ever get plastic surgery unless I need it for whatever reasons, for if I was in a car accident. But I don't know why I go to that zone. But with InMode, they make this fantastic devices, very fast turnaround for other various components. I definitely will to look out the technology for this one. I really like the stock setup here. I've actually owned this for many years. I got shooken out of it at the $40-ish range on the pullback of last year, and just kind of been slowly watching it come back here and been adding into it here. It's somewhat been a sleeper here. If again, somewhat similar like we talked about with the pen one there, Ben. Oh, pen. I mean, Ben, thank you for the $10. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is awesome. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for my coffee addiction. You got me pizza, you got me coffee. I'm good to go. Let's go. Um, with this again, with in mode, I'm looking for this potentially to break above $71. And if we break above that $71, we can easily potentially run up to 86 and higher. But being very looking at this as a long-term play for me, I'm really just not going to be just going out there and just throwing money at it again. I've been slowly building the position. This can easily pull back. This can easily pull back well below to that $60 to $50 range overnight. So I'm not just throwing all my capital in this again. I'm very much aware of just adding anywhere from 5 to 7% on a position in my portfolio. So there's not going to be taking up like 90% of my position. So be very mindful of that as well, in the sense of don't throw all your capital into one stock idea, and kind of diversify around that. So those are basically the three stocks that I was going to highlight on the video for tomorrow. So you guys kind of got already the sneak peek. And so basically looking at that, so looking at some more questions. Again, Ben, thank you for the 20 cups of coffee. If you could pick three stocks for the next 5 to 10 years, what would they be? Probably Tesla, Probably, well, my brain's kind of spinning here a little bit. Probably Tesla. Um, I don't think Apple's going anywhere. And then I love. I'm gonna kind of do something, and probably PLTR, but that's just PLTR. I think is not for everyone though to kind of hold, because I think we can really see some chop in PLTR. Jared says, I like to drive fast, smoke well, and have wonderful trips in the forest. Um, nice. That is awesome. Guys, if you have any more questions, please put in the comment section now. I'm going to be signing off in a little bit here. If you haven't already, I would love for you guys to come join our fantastic Discord. I can actually post that link here in the description or the chat box. So go ahead, if you're feeling giddy and happy and wonderful, go ahead and jump into the Discord completely. Again, there is no, you don't have to pay for it. It's just completely come in. Everything's available to you. You can read all the stuff that we're talking about. There is a member section that is tied to the YouTube and the Patreon page, but yeah, everything else is mostly yeah, it's just the most active channel is the let's look here, is the live trading market, and that's when we just post all kinds of various things. Again, we have a little option bot that kind of helps us show some open interest, all kinds of different commands there. We have fantastic stuff from Bear changing his profile picture. It's always fun stuff. Costco snacks. We talked about yoga the other day. Always a fun time. Always fun. Chris, thank you for coming out and being a wonderful moderator. Appreciate that. Um, Same as Jared and David, I saw come out as well. Wesley, Ben, everyone else who's joined the live stream. Thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. Going to be working on a video. Uh, People were asking for kind of a deeper dive into some of the indicators. So I have a couple ideas I wrote down on what I should do or what should I look at, and kind of discuss on like a think a swim platform and just dumbing down and looking at one indicator at a time, and kind of describing what it can do, how different indicators laying on top of each other could help people. Because again, this is my setup. I know it's a little messy, but looking for something to kind of be interesting to kind of help folks expand their knowledge within technical analysis. So, yeah, I got a lot of things lined up to be coming out here. Again, I greatly appreciate everyone coming out and spending their Friday evening with me. Please have a safe and wonderful weekend, and I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or the next video, or just chat in Discord. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic evening, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.